Let's lock in.
Yep.
Maybe.
Does Clemson climb at all?
Illinois, number 25. I don't know if I'm ahead of y'all or not.
You're slightly ahead of me. That's okay.
I'm just going to say it for the chat.
Yep.
Illinois, number 25, not ranked last week. UNLV, number 24.
Okay.
They had a good game. This past week.
They've been playing good football this season.
Outside looking in the Mountain West, though, sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Missouri, number 23.
Mm.
So it looks like it appears they stayed put.
I'm sorry. Missouri does no.
They're not.
Iowa State is number 22. Not ranked this past week.
Okay. I mean, I'm not mad about that. Iowa State has a shot to make the Big 12 championship game, so I think they're
that conference is wide.
Yeah.
Yes.
If the SEC wasn't exploding, the Big 12 would definitely.
And then Arizona State number 21. Sorry to
Arizona.
No, Arizona State number 21 after their big win this past weekend. So
which also catapulted them to have a shot at still making the Big 12 title game.
Yeah.
So those two are the teams in waiting. Should BYU or Colorado slip up?
Correct.
In the Big 12.
Yes.
Okay, so good to know. Yeah. Colorado. I think Colorado is going to be one of the first 3 teams out. That's my prediction.
They're going to be up there real close.
They are.
To be in it, I think.
For like this week.
Tulane, number 20, up 5 spots, 9-2.
Ooh,
so I'm just going to say it as it happens.
No, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Please do. Tulane is a sneaky American team. Like if Boise State didn't exist, Tulane would definitely be in the conversation for that G5.
Absolutely, they would. Just Boise State is killing it. Army, number 19, up 5 spots, undefeated Army.
Yep, and they play this week.
Huge matchup.
Huge matchup in the G5 race.
South Carolina, number 18, up 3 spots.
Okay.
Gamecocks, as mentioned earlier.
South Carolina.
They're not out of it. They just need a lot of stuff. They need a lot to go their way. But Clemson, number 17, up 3 spots after they eke one out against Pitt.
Crazy.
Saved by the bell with Kate Klubnik. Colorado, number 16, up 1 spot from last week. So they are 4 spots out of the 12-team playoff as of this current moment in time.
Good to know.
Control their own destiny. They are already in the playoffs by the logic that they need to win out to make the playoffs. I'm sorry. I misspoke earlier. Army and Tulane are not playing each other this week. Army's playing Notre Dame. Tulane will play them in the American Conference Championship game if they make it.
Texas A&M, number 15.
Okay.
Tennessee.
Okay. Still up there.
Yeah, they're Tennessee, honestly. They Angel, to answer your question, they have yet to be mentioned, and we are already at number 14.
BYU down 8 spots, number 14.
Wow.
Damn. I mean, Valley.
So they got bounced. Yeah. Ugly loss against Kansas. Not much went their way that evening. So I'm not out of it, but out of it for now. And then we're going to do a little film study for BYU, it looks like.
Yeah. Looking at the YouTube chat, 3 losses is hard for sure. South Carolina is going to dominate the bowl game, probably, because they'll get like probably a mid-level Big Ten team, if I had to guess.
They'll make it. Well, I guess there's not New Year's Six bowls anymore, right? Outside of the playoff, so that'll be interesting.
Whatever's next. Ooh,
yeah. SMU number 13, up 1 spot.
Ooh, that's it.
That's tough.
Yep.
I mean,
outside looking in for SMU.
Ooh, still got Boise State, still got Tennessee.
Tennessee's
just
in the
saying.
mix.
They are in the mix.
All right, hey,
so
good deal. Honestly, I don't know. I like it personally because that just makes Georgia's schedule look that much better.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, how far should Tennessee fall? I mean,
they were.
It was a raucous environment. Georgia brought it. So
that just shows you like the top tier of the
Boise
SEC,
State, number 12.
Boise State 12.
Very close.
Good deal.
Number 12, up 1 spot.
Good for them. So there's a real possibility if chalk holds, if Colorado wins out, Boise State would get a first-round bye.
Correct.
Because,
that's hilarious. I love that.
It'd be electric.
Give them the first round
that's
bye.
great.
I would love it.
Honestly.
And also,
awesome.
that's the same case if BYU wins at this point because Boise State's up 2 spots.
Tennessee, number 11. Tennessee is down 4 spots.
Okay.
Still in the picture, but at number 11.
So for all the Tennessee fans, honestly, dropping 4 spots.
Could have been worse. Georgia, number 10.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's it?
So
That's
up 2 spots from number 12.
crazy.
And they're doing this differently. They're just going straight down the line. Like the other
Yeah.
weeks, they've done like a little bracket with like,
Yeah.
first round bye and whatever. Ole Miss, number 9, up 2 spots. So Ole Miss
Okay.
is still above Georgia. Head-to-head
Okay.
matchup does matter in this scenario for
I
the playoff
respect
committee
it.
currently.
I don't like it,
Okay.
but I respect it.
Mm-hmm.
Ole
Yep.
Miss above Georgia. You gotta.
Not really much you can say there.
No.
Seems about right.
We
Yeah.
got dog walked. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Miami, number 8, up 1 spot.
okay, now
One lost Miami to Georgia Tech.
They had a
So,
bye this
outta
past
here.
week, correct? Miami.
yeah, I believe.
That
I
sounds
don't think I saw
correct.
them play.
I will
Yeah. I
think
double
that's
check
right.
that.
Yeah. Alabama, number 7, up 3 spots.
That's okay.
I'm okay.
We'll
with that.
discuss afterwards.
We'll
We can
discuss.
have a broader
Yeah.
discussion.
Oh,
but
we will.
we will.
Yeah,
Believe me, we will.
Miami was off. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Let's check out the chat.
I don't know what we're talking about. Notre Dame, number 6, up 2 spots. 9-1 Notre Dame with a loss to Northern Illinois is number 6 in the country.
And-
I have thoughts about that. I will save for later, but that
Yeah.
is the case.
They potentially might not be there long. Let's just put it that way.
Illinois State, or not Illinois, excuse me, the other eye, Indiana stays at number 5, undefeated Indiana.
Man's SEC bias is coming out right there. One of those I teams from the Midwest.
One of them.
One
They're
of
all
them.
the same, except one of them is 10-0 and the other one is barely ranked.
7-3.
Bielma ball, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, respect it.
Uh,
All right, now they're gonna take a little break, show us some
Yeah, a little film
Georgia
study.
highlights. I mean, you've got
Biggest game of the weekend this weekend, obviously,
By far.
Indiana, Ohio State. All right, we're back.
so I'll let you, since you're ahead of us.
Yes.
Mhm. They still haven't said anything. I'm assuming they're going to say it here soon. I don't know what they're talking about here.
I'm assuming like chalk's gonna hold most likely, unless Ohio State jumps Oregon, which they
I don't see
obviously
it. They're not going to
making
drop them, I don't think.
no, they're making a point to emphasize head to head. So I just don't think that's gonna happen. But
Penn State, number 4.
Yeah, I figured.
They stay put. I think chalk is going to hold, Drew. I think you're correct.
Overrated.
For this top 5. And yep, Texas, number 3.
Yeah.
So everybody in the top 5 so far has stayed where they were before. And it will be that way because Ohio State is number 2 and then Oregon will be number 1.
okay.
So there you have it. Top 5 stays unchanged after this past week. A little bit of movement in the back end of the top 10 with a couple of upsets, but for the large part, your first round bye teams are looking pretty similar. However, that does contain 3 Big Ten teams in the top. No, 4 Big Ten teams in the top 5. So a lot of movement here is going to be happening very soon.
As far as bracketology goes, could you?
Okay, so now we have the playoff bracket.
Notre Dame is 6, correct?
Yeah, they're number 6. First team out is Tennessee. Second team out is SMU in the playoff bracket. So although Tennessee was ranked within the top 12, they would be the first team out in this scenario. And then you have BYU. Let's see.
Let me see.
What are we doing here? This is a little weird. I'm sorry, I'm trying to look. Okay, so the first round buys in this scenario looks like it would go to Oregon, Miami, Texas, and Boise State.
That is correct.
Which we were talking about earlier. Boise State would get that first round bye because the Big 12 champion would not be ranked highly enough to achieve that first round bye. Reserved for the top 4 ranked conference champions this year.
Correct.
So in the first round, it would be BYU, and I don't know what they're talking about. I have it on mute.
Yeah, I do
but
too.
okay, here we go. BYU and Ohio State would play in the first round. Ohio State would have a cakewalk, so they would play
Yes.
BYU, and then they would play Boise State.
That's
I don't
in the
so
next
easy.
round.
I mean, I don't know, guys. Probably, but I feel like Boise State could make some noise.
They could make some noise. I'm just saying, relatively, if I'm Ohio State, give me that.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Alabama would play Notre Dame in the first round for the chance to play Oregon. Georgia would play Penn State in the first round on the road for the chance to play Miami. And then Ole Miss would play Indiana in the first round for the chance to play Texas.
Ooh, baby.
Give me
Yeah.
that. Oh my god.
I'd be salivating.
Going into Happy Valley.
I don't give a fuck where we play.
I'm not saying I cared either. I'm just saying to clarify that would be in Happy Valley, obviously.
I'm
Yes.
taking that.
I
So-
mean, honestly, shout out to the Big Ten. They would host 3 out of the 4 first round games.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
impressive.
and then Notre Dame hosting the final, so they're none of the SEC teams
So
obviously right now in the position to host a first round game. So yeah, there you have it. They're gonna talk and say whatever they want to say. I don't really care what they say.
but we're gonna talk.
Yeah.
But we're gonna talk, and hopefully,
All right.
you care about what we say.
Let me add the bracket. I saved a JPEG of the bracket, so I will
Oh yeah, throw it up there. That
throw it up.
that'd be good looks.
Give
That
people
boy
We can
visual
discuss.
aid.
Yes, sir. Ski.
Should we throw it up over our faces? I don't know.
Is there room?
Not
No,
really.
there's
There's not really
I'm looking
any
at it.
room.
Well, the chat's kind of in the way, but like you can still see the teams in the bracket. Like you're
We're
a
good
little
with
to the
that.
right. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, cool.
I was about to like Polar Express you. A little to the right, a little to the left, to the right.
Throw an image. Let me get OBS situated. We can talk about it. Image file.
Yeah, hang tight, folks. We're gonna get a little bracket up there for your viewing pleasure to follow along while we talk a little bit of ball here.
Trying to help everybody.
Our thoughts about these rankings. Yeah.
Yeah, so JJ commented Alabama over Miami and Georgia is crazy. So I agree. I agree on Miami being that high. That's kind of ridiculous to me. I'm not going to lie to you. But I mean, you've kind of the committee has made it a point where head to head is paramount in this season.
Yeah.
With
absolutely.
So
this has been their number one, and then
and they beat
your
the
record
shit out of LSU. So
yeah, I mean, I've said it a little earlier. If Milroe plays like that, not many teams are beating them.
No,
so
not many teams are beating.
They looked very good.
Yep.
To be fair, I do think Miami that high is a bit much. However, we'll find out soon about that. I don't think Miami's schedule the rest of the way is really anything to be afraid of if you're Miami outside of the ACC championship matchup. So they take care of business against SMU. They're looking good for the playoff, but we'll see what they're really made of when you get there. But I think my biggest thing with the playoff committee, what they're showing right now is that there is no advantage in having a better strength of schedule. In my opinion, there's no incentive for going out and scheduling hard out of conference games at this point. You want to make it as easy as possible to get the best record possible in the regular season, because you look at teams like even Texas and Indiana, and obviously right now they are being rewarded for their records overall as opposed to their strength of schedule. So I mean, I guess I get it, but it's interesting for sure.
Yeah. I kind of enjoy how important conference games have become, because I mean, you could literally lose every other game on your schedule. As long as you do well in conference, you can still make the playoffs, which is a little NFL-esque, which I think like some NFL fans, like their biggest gripe with college football is how subjective it is.
No, it is very NFL-esque, because you talk about divisions. You play terribly out of division. You win your division, it doesn't matter. You automatically make the playoff.
Yeah. I mean, if you kick the shit out of all of your other division opponents, it doesn't guarantee you win the division, but like
but it really helps you.
Yeah.
Unless you just absolutely go out and just do terribly against. Yeah, you go over, then probably not, but still. Yeah. No, it's reminiscent of like the current college basketball structure. You win your conference championship.
Yeah.
No matter what happens,
you get a ticket to the dance.
You're in. So.
Yeah. So, as a Georgia fan, are you more scared of Miami or SMU potentially winning the ACC? Because if chalk holds and this is the bracket, SMU could hypothetically replace Miami at number 3.
I think you gotta say Miami just because of the quarterback.
I would agree.
Restrepo is also incredible. The wide receiver, he's really
they have
good.
Weapons.
Yeah,
they have weapons.
But I mean, I feel pretty similarly about Miami or SMU. Like it's not
pretty porous on defense, generally speaking. Generally speaking, also a pretty high-powered offense. You could call into question the strength of opponent on a consistent basis, but
Yeah, you can say that about a lot of teams in the playoff at the current moment. To be perfectly honest with you, but yeah, Miami's still a talented team at the end of the day. I think it depends on what version of Georgia you see. If you see the version of Georgia who played against Tennessee and Texas, I don't think they'd have any issues. You see any other version, it's a different story. So Georgia's been pretty inconsistent this season, has yet to find that rhythm. However, with the win over Tennessee, we'll see if they can kind of get into that the rest of the way and carry that over to the playoffs. And the SEC championship if they somehow make it. But I don't want to make it.
Yeah,
leave me out of it. No. I will sit back and eat popcorn and watch, Texas play Alabama or something like that.
I did hear that for Georgia to make the SEC championship, if Alabama wins out, well, pretty much if Alabama beats Auburn, and because they're playing a cupcake this week, right? Because
who? Auburn?
Alabama. Yeah.
They play Oklahoma, right?
Okay.
They're in Norman.
That's true. So Alabama needs to win out to not guarantee, but almost guarantee that they make the conference championship game. Because if Alabama wins out, the only way that Georgia can make it in is if Missouri loses out, which probably ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, not really much incentive to make the SEC championship and play in it. If you're in a position like Georgia, where you're making a playoff anyways, give me the extra week of rest. Give me a potentially inferior opponent in the first round to what you would be seeing in the SEC championship.
Yes.
And I'll be just okay, even if it's on the road. I think that's a fair trade.
Mr. Film Stocked is chiming in via text message. He sent a screenshot and said, "Cakewalk to the semis." Love that.
Yeah.
That's
it's about right.
Yeah. Okay, so Penn State has got to be pissed off at the moment. Like, I think, I don't know. They want the 5 seed so bad because I mean, I'd much rather play BYU than Georgia.
Yeah.
If I'm a Penn State fan.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't think that's a question.
Yeah, but no matter who, I think what would have to happen for Penn State to climb up into the 5 seed, Indiana would have to beat Ohio State and lose to Oregon. And then even then it's not guaranteed because they could drop Indiana to 5.
It depends on how badly they what the final score of that game is.
Sure.
In my opinion.
Yes, because a loss to Indiana for Ohio State would knock them out of the top 5. We can all agree on that.
Easy,
correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely, it would. It'd be their second loss.
Yes. However, if Ohio State beats Indiana, then I think Indiana just has, if it's a close game, I think Indiana would have just as much claim to the 5 seed as Penn State does. So that would be very interesting. Yeah, I think no matter who you are, whether you're BYU or Colorado, I think the ceiling at this point might be 10.
For the Big 12, you mean?
Yeah, for the Big 12, yeah.
Yeah. They're definitely the weakest. I mean, Boise above any Big 12 team is very telling.
Yes.
Yeah.
And very
it really
probable.
Is.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see. I mean, if Colorado runs the table and they beat BYU by a lot in that conference title game, could you imagine if they go in there and beat them by 24 points? Where do you put Colorado? Do you put them above Boise?
There's a conversation.
Because
there is a
it's
conversation.
Been impressive what Dion has done since losing to Nebraska.
I agree.
Yeah. The problem is Colorado has, I'm pretty sure they have 2 losses, correct?
They do.
Yeah, that's the problem. is Boise State, to this point, only has one loss and is a possession to the current number 1 team in the nation.
Yeah, that's huge for Boise, or at least I think it should be huge.
Should be huge.
Because in terms of quality losses, that's about the best loss in the country right now.
Yeah. I mean, by that logic, they are right behind Ohio State.
Yes.
So they could claim they're the third best team in the country.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I don't know. I think it might be a close choice just because of the level that Boise plays at. But
yeah,
I mean, even if so, let's just say Boise State wins their conference championship, makes it look pretty easy, and they have one loss against. Assuming that Oregon wins out and wins the Big Ten, one loss against an undefeated Big Ten champion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's ahead of a 2-loss Big 12 champion, Colorado or anybody else.
Miami was
personally
7. Is that correct? 8.
Wait, what? Say that again.
What ranking was Miami?
I mean, in the bracket, they're number 3.
Well, yes, the bracket.
But overall, I don't remember. I had to go find it.
Okay. I guess I could also look that up. But I'm just...
Wait, say again. I have it.
Miami.
Miami and 3 in the bracket.
8 in the ranking.
Okay. And SMU?
They were like... they were...
So
they were out there.
So there's a real possibility, if SMU wins out, that Boise State, if they also went out, could hypothetically be the 3 seed.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's crazy.
It's just one of those years, man. This is 2007 all over again.
Mm-hmm. I love it. It's a good sport, I think.
Shout out to the Broncos. Genuinely.
No, absolutely. I mean, even if this weren't like, obviously they had the loss, so probably not, but even if this weren't like, this was a 4-team playoff year, they would be getting some buzz. Obviously, and you have to be perfect if you're a non-power 5 in the past for the college football playoff in terms of, like a Cincinnati team where you get the nod. But still, making a lot of noise. I've been very impressed with what they've done. It's hard not to be.
Could you imagine if they had beaten Oregon?
Would be...
They'd be top
5.
They'd be top 5, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Undefeated.
Yeah, and then there would be no conversation, Genty versus anybody in the Heisman race. Like, he would be the far and away.
I mean, he ran for 191 in that game.
No, he had a game.
Yeah. So, it'd be nuts. But, hey, we can play hypotheticals all day.
Yeah. That's what this channel is about, is the hypotheticals.
So, I don't know. Anything else we want to discuss? Any hypotheticals or potential roads or anything like that?
I'm good for now. I mean...
Yeah. I'm chilling.
Go check out our other content if anybody's still in here. We have some short form up today. I did one about if the 4-team playoff was this season, how would that look? So,
yeah,
go check it out.
I mean, this would be a hell of a 4-team bracket.
Oregon, it would
Texas, be Miami, and Boise.
No, they expanded at the perfect time.
Yeah, and I think that there's just a lot of things that have come together for the 12-team playoff to be appropriate. Parity that has been a product of NILs and just the transfer portal being wide open now, mega conferences, and just everything that's happened there. It's been fun. Like, it is funny how the dominoes fall together.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been good for the sport, and I think before you know it, we'll be out to 16 teams, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
24.
Let's do March Madness style. Just
throw
them all in there.
64 teams. I mean, just replace bowl season with a March Madness-esque tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
That would be wild.
Yeah. We would also have to cut the season down to half of what it currently
is. Oh, yeah. And the teams, the playoffs would be like however many games. That'd be crazy. It'd be a lot of games.
Yeah, it'd be ridiculous. But now I think there is a cap on how many teams we expand it to. I think it might be like 24 might be the absolute max, but 12. If chalk holds, I doubt it will. But if chalk holds, this would be a fun bracket, no matter how you
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, I think 16 is really pushing it. In my opinion, you go up to 24. I mean, like, I guess maybe that's the argument of, oh, they were ranked in the top 25 at the end of the season, give them a chance. But thinking about it in years past, how many teams ranked outside of 16 at the end of the season would have had a realistic shot to beat whoever won the national championship that year?
That's valid.
But I mean, yeah, 24, absolutely the most.
So,
I couldn't see any more than that. So,
for argument's sake, 13 SMU, 14 BYU, 15 A&M, 16 Colorado. Throw them in this equation wherever you may. I would assume matched up against the top 4 seeds. So
yeah, I mean, those
Colorado,
teams can make
Boise,
some noise.
That would be wild, man.
Yeah. I think the only the major problem I have with bumping it to 16 is that it no longer incentivizes winning your conference to get a bye game, to get a bye.
True.
But for the sake of this argument, that would be a fun 1-16 matchup, 2-15, 3-14. It would be fun. No one would be complaining except for the 1 through 4 seeds.
Correct.
Yeah. I agree with that about conference championships, but my only problem is I feel like we're already heading that way.
Yeah.
Obviously, there is a bit more of an incentive in this scenario, but when you get to a position like a few of the teams are in the SEC this season, it's like I feel like some teams are starting to view it as an unnecessary risk, especially if you're going into it with 2 losses at this point in the season. That's not the case for all conferences. Mainly an issue for the SEC this year. And we can have a further conversation about whether a 3rd loss would disqualify a SEC runner-up. It very well could, which would be an interesting conversation to have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you made a TikTok about it the other day. Like, should we get rid of conference championship games? And
yeah, I did make that. I mean, I don't think we will, to be frank.
No.
I think maybe sometime down the line there may be discussion about it, aligning a bit more with the NFL-esque structure, especially if we're going to expand the playoff even further. Then I feel like that those conversations may be kicking into gear a little bit, where it's like, there's not conference championships, obviously, and in the NFL, you win your division and you're in. So I don't know. I mean, there's less and less incentive to win the conference.
Yeah.
And you're going to be okay. But, at this point, there still is a pretty notable prize with that first round bye. So.
Yeah. I don't think anybody would really be against expanding the playoff if you could still figure out the bracket to where there's a way you can incentivize winning your conference.
And I think they'll have to do that. That'll be one of the biggest aspects of it.
Have to.
Because if not, we're going to see a decline in maybe some of these regular season games where, the 12-team playoff creates more quote-unquote like playoff game atmosphere vibes in the regular season, and then expanding to 16, if you don't address that, I think that kind of lessens a little bit, just because of the sheer amount of teams making it and not necessarily being like do or die, we need to make the conference championship. So.
Yeah.
Yep. Good deal.
Anything else? I think
that does it. If anybody's still in here, we appreciate y'all.
Absolutely.
For stopping by. If you're here on TikTok, we have a YouTube channel. If you didn't know that, we may or may not have said that already. But we do have a YouTube channel. I don't know if the link is in the live, but it is in our bio on TikTok. I know that much. So if you want to go check us out, we would greatly appreciate you. We also appreciate the people in the YouTube chat as well. If you're returning, great to see you again. If this is your first time, consider subscribing. We do a bunch of college football content for the entire season. So we'd love to see you around in our community that we're building and talk a little ball, or at least attempt to talk some ball. So, gentlemen, do you have anything else to add before we get out of here?
No, not really. I mean, I can't really tell who is spamming the emojis in the YouTube chat, but if I had to guess, it's probably JJ. If it is Matthew, or
I
Isaiah.
don't see
Sorry,
anything.
no disrespect. So it's not like in the actual chat. It's like the reaction off to the side is
Gotcha.
kind of floating.
Ah,
Yeah. No offense to Matthew or Isaiah if it's you, but I just assume it's JJ because
no, we're not getting on to you. Keep doing it.
yeah,
Keep doing
Spam
No,
us. I don't care.
love it. But
I love
yes,
the interaction.
first time
Engagement.
going live on TikTok. I would consider this a success.
Absolutely.
Yes. Success with flying colors is great.
Yes. So shout out to you guys on that.
Gonna start doing that more for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So keep an eye out for that on both TikTok and YouTube. We'll be around.
Oh damn it! Oh, it's Isaiah. I'm
Isaiah.
sorry, Isaiah. I'm so sorry. I feel like a piece of shit.
What are we doing?
I don't.
He
No,
feels
don't feel
disrespected, man. Come
No,
on.
Isaiah. No, Isaiah. Please don't. I genuinely, I'm gonna have to claim Unk status here, bro. I don't know how to tell who's putting the stuff in the chat. You know,
It's not disrespect. It's just a little bit of technological ignorance. Don't mind us.
yeah,
We got you, man.
26.
We're learning. We're learning.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll get there, but we appreciate you, man.
We're not used to the support.
Yeah.
I'm gonna claim ignorance on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's funny.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes. All right. We good?
Yep.
Yeah, good.
All right. Y'all have a good night. See you next time.